Hey, what's good with it, YouTube, man? This is your boy Rojo, and this is the Rojo Room, man. I'm joined by my homie Gunner, and we're gonna talk about a little something today, man. It's all right. Say you're no good in prison. Does that necessarily mean you're all bad in your neighborhood? And we're gonna elaborate a little bit on that, man, because I think it's very situational, and I think it all depends on a lot of factors, man. And we're gonna talk about some of them factors. First of all, Gun, what do you think, brother?
So I think a lot of things, right? But what I'm thinking first and foremost, in a Menudo style or direct fashion, is there's a lot of controversy there. It could be maneuvered and flipped any way you want it, right? If you walk into prison, having the jacket, being on freeze, having a question mark on your name, or just being outright considered no good or not in good standings, there's different elements to this shit, right? You're going to be whacked day one, or as soon as they can get to you. And that's because, if you're on freeze, or of course, if you're going to get your due process, supposedly, depending on where you go. But if you already are no bad, you've programmed on no good yards, or whatever the case may be, for the most part, you're going to get whacked. They're going to put metal inside you, deep inside you, okay? That's just the way it is. You're going to catch a razor to the face, or whatever the case may be. Now, the way I see it is it's different on the streets. It's much different, right? See, a lot of people are from neighborhoods. They love their neighborhood. They're for the barrio, they're down. It's blasted on you. That's how it is. Forever forward in that strive. But just because you're no longer in good standings with an organization, or say the Norte or the Sul or certain groups, Bulldogs, whatever the case may be, doesn't necessarily mean every old school friend that you have is going to turn his back on you. Every hood is different. Every barrio has different DNA in it. Every barrio has different rules and regulations. Now, for the most part, anyone who's up under these certain group organizations, they're going to roll with the punches. They're going to go with the flow. They're going to roll with the dictation, because that's just the way it is. That's the way it's always been, and that's the way it's going to be always moving forward. But I myself, there's certain neighborhoods I can go to where they know my situation, and just based on that, I don't have weird crimes or one thing or another. They feel my pain. They feel my pain, and they'll kick it with me, and they'll put it out there. Yeah, I kick it with. That's a little bit different. I'm on YouTube, and it's a whole different animal. But prior to YouTube, man, I used to go kick it in the neighborhoods, my own barrio, and get the love from the old school homeboys, and they knew what time it was. And then there were some guys that just didn't like me anyways, that always had to voice their opinion and say something. You'll find those cats. Oh, they look for they've never liked you. Your shit was too big. Your people was too big. Whatever the case may be, you might have knocked their old lady once upon a time, in the noontime. And they don't like you for one reason or another. They're going to use this as a catalyst to oppress you, and it's righteous. They have a righteous argument. Okay. They have a very righteous argument, but at the same time, I think each barrio, each hood is different. I think each individual as a man, is going to base it on the character of you, not necessarily what other people tell them. It's all fun. Like, there's a lot of favoritism that goes on. Let's just say that right off the top. I got homeboys that are active, man, and they don't give a fuck what some vato from Soho or Salas or Fresno or Sakura or anybody is saying to them. They're going to do what they want to do. Now, when they're incarcerated, you are going to conform to what you're supposed to. If you're a gang member, that's just a fact. You know what I mean? Yeah. To sit here and say, oh, I can go on any yard and be cool. Nah, that's not true. That's not true. I'm going to go to R&R and I'll whack somebody. You know what I mean? Because I got to look out for myself. But on the streets, I wiggle different. And I think that people get the benefit of the doubt for the most part.
I agree, man. I was thinking about this topic a little bit earlier, man, because I've heard some people be like, I don't bang no more necessarily, or I'm not, quote unquote active, but I'm still good in my hood. And that man, I see that happening, bro. I could go kick it with my homies. You know what I mean? Where I'm from, they won't say nothing. But in other areas, every hood is different. Just like you were saying, the politics, the way they get down, who's out on the streets from that neighborhood, what kind of line they're pushing, it all has a lot of factors, man. I've been places like my own neighborhood, Pittsburgh, Concord, you know what I mean? Nobody's tripping. But then you got the youngsters who don't necessarily know you, don't give a damn about you. They just think, they just automatically say piece of shit in their head, and those are the ones pushing these hard lines, man. It's always usually the youngsters, man. OGs my age that know me, that been around, done time with me. I can't think of a single one that wouldn't mess with me, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On the streets. However, just like Gunner said, you Even once you hit the county, bro, things change. That's just because, hey, my name's good and you're not, and you're here. If I don't do something, I'm no good. And nobody's trying to be no good for something real trivial like that, man. When you decide that you want to walk away, or you're no longer interested in pursuing the same cause that you once did, that's an individual, personal decision. You don't want it to be based on, oh, I let this guy slide and let it, your career end because of somebody else. You know what I mean? So they got to get off, or somebody's going to get off on them. And that's just facts, bro. But just like you said too, as far as YouTube, man, before YouTube, man, I went everywhere, bro. Nobody even knew who I was. The only people who knew who I was were from my neighborhood, or from the neighborhoods that I associated with real close. Because where I'm from, there's 7, 8, 9 different hoods, but they all chill. Man, you don't know who's from what hood because we all chill together so tough a lot of the times. You don't realize that dude's not even part of your crew. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
I can see a lot of people still being good in the neighborhoods, depending on what you did. If you're a weirdo, nobody's going to mess with you. Mm-hmm. If you took down the hood in some indictments or something, they're not going to mess with you. They're going to peel your cap. But, as far as being no good, like Gunner said, there's different levels to it. And that's how you're going to be treated. There's a lot of people out there that aren't active. They're not inactive. They've turned into regular family people and whatever. And that's great. That's what you're supposed to do as a man. You're supposed to raise your family and this and that. Now, technically, are they not active? No, they're not. But does that mean that they're all bad? No, it don't. You know what I'm saying? So there's different levels of being active and not active. And it all depends on where you're from. Like if you messed up and you're from Salinas, somebody's going to holler at you. If you mess up and you're from Merced, somebody's going to want to holler at you. But a lot of other places, man, that are, historically less political, man, you can wiggle, bro. And I did just like Gunner did up until the YouTube thing. And then that kind of changed the whole landscape of that, man. But I'll still wiggle wherever the damn hell I want, but
right off the top. And you know what? And trip out on this. Just like I said, I want to elaborate where I say there's different elements to this. Okay. There was a guy in my neighborhood. Old viejito, not really old. He was old to me, right? I was in my 20s. He was in his 50s at that point in time. Big old well got bird on his throat. He'd be out there fucking mowing the lawn, doing his thing, had his familia. And we knew he was I think he was from Gonzales, Gonza, out there by Sala. And we didn't know if he was a dropout. None of that ever came up back in them days. We didn't trip. We just knew that he was doing his family thing. We used to see him, hey, what's up, bro? He'd be like, oh, what's up, little homies? Doing his thing. Now, come to find out later on in life, we found out that he was not a dropout. He never dropped in, right? We can get into that deep discussion. But that he just was no longer functioning, okay? Now, trip out on this. He was never oppressed or ran upon or anything. Why? Because they felt like he didn't pose no threat. He wasn't no threat to us. It was like, man, he's old school. He's doing his thing, man. He's one of he started this gangster shit. We got to give him his respect. This motherfucker thinks he gets right. We just had to give him a little love. And we did that. Now it's going back to them ways right now. See, and a lot of people don't realize it with all this SNY yards and active and inactive and all this shit that's going on nowadays where people hit you up. They don't even ask you where you're from anymore. They just ask you if you're active or not. There's differences here. There's differences of being an active gang member or being a gang member in good standings. I've already touched on this many a times on Gunners Collective and Gunners Profiles. If you're an active gang member, you're not going to be out there too long. You're going to be fully activated. You're going to go to a place where you can perform to the best of your abilities and capabilities. By far, that's where you're headed, right? Or to the grave. If you're a vato in good standings, that means, and I got a lot of homeboys that are in good standing because they never went to jail. Never went to prison, never got faced with adversity. They're just good, righteous homeboys, man. I got homeboys where you knock on their door and you're like, hey, we're going to go bang. They're like, bro, what are you doing on my doorstep? I'm with all that bullshit, right?
Yeah.
But they're still considered good,
yeah.
And I can't call it like an alcoholic, but it is what it is. I see it from every angle. Now, what you have even going on nowadays, because there's so many dropouts that are paroling, that are starting to formulate these groups like Northern Riders, whatever the case may be, whatever they got going on. They're out there doing crime and they're out there gangbanging. The actives, the vatos that are considered active, that are really out there smacking with the business, are now starting to focus more on them. And they're saying, they're picking and choosing. Hey, if there's fucking Rojo over there, man, and he's just a fucking, you know, he ain't doing nothing. He don't pose a threat. He doesn't have no weird charges. He ain't never fucking told on a gang of people. He's just doing his thing, man. You don't pose a threat to them. You're not prime target. You're not wanted in the highest degree. You're not on the level where they're like, we got to kill this guy. We'll save him for later. If we're just one night, we're drunk, and you know what I mean? Maybe. But they're focused more on the people that are out there posing a threat, the people are out there getting in their pockets, the people that are out there doing things. This is how it is nowadays. This is how it's becoming. Because deals are so deep and non-actors are so deep that you have to kind of pick and choose now. You can't just try, I'm going to hit every deal in there. Oh, I don't think so. They're pretty deep now, buddy, right? They might get you before you might get a few of them, but they're going to get you before you get them. This is just the way it is. But as far as being able to go into hoods and all that, bro, I talk to active homeboys every day, right? I'm going to tell you guys that right off the top. Do I say their names? No, because I don't want to put them in danger. I don't want to place them, and it's because of this YouTube shit. Prior to this, bro, I was all in the hood and shit, so I was in that motherfucker parlaying, right? Yeah. Of course, I put myself on blast. I chose to be the voice of the people. I chose to do this YouTube stuff. It was my choice as a man. And I'm have to reap what I sowed. The repercussions will be felt. That's me. I'm not worried about it. You know, it is what it is. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop wiggling. I'm going to wiggle. Now, at the same time, I understand, you know, how not to disrespect someone. If there's a hood or a barrio that they fucking rock hard, because some barrios rock harder than others. Some they're just so up to par. They're super norteño, super sureño, super salsa. Vatos that are just like Charlie Holmes. You know what I mean? Our hood has a certain status, a certain name, and we're not going to fucking let any basura or any people they consider trash wiggle through their neighborhood. Well, I know how to skirt around that, right? You know, okay, guess how I do it? When they say don't come to my neighborhood, I don't go to their neighborhood, right? Later on, when they're not looking, there's a high now, I'll go pick her up in their neighborhood, but I do it going undercover, right?
You send Tio Pedro.
Man, Pedro Tipacas pulling up like, hey, you gotta, you know, Dimo, right? He's gonna get his issue. I'll send Baby Gun in there. He'll be like, I stole my dad's car, right? You got to do what you have to do to make shit happen. But I'm not a disrespectful person, so I won't disrespect the gente because, hey, I believe in that cause. I believe that what they're doing is righteous. I truly believe that just because I fucked up or I'm considered as fucked up shouldn't have no bearing on the whole body. And I'm not going to fucking put anyone, even good friends of mine, in a predicament that's going to get them caught up behind me. Because I understand, man, you know, some of your closest friends would be the one that hit you. You know, and that's just the way it works. So you always got to keep your eyes peeled and keep the wiggle real. That's just how it is. But as far as going back to the neighborhood and kicking it, I'm going to tell you right now, man, a lot of authors do, man. You know, but then again, look, we went to Frisco. We were all up in the Mission. Thought we were, hey, ho, thought we were kicking it. And they were like, hey, no, right? So, I mean, some places you get identified in some places. And, you know, were we given the pass? Were we given no? You know, we don't know. We don't know. We weren't behind the fucking lens or behind the curtain with those guys. We don't know what they were thinking. You know, maybe they were waiting on something to get there so they can let us have it. Or maybe they were just like, you know what, it's better just let these, we're not tripping off these guys. We have other people, other fish to fry. Whatever the case may be, I'll see y'all, right? Because we were able to live another day and wiggle out of there. But that doesn't mean they're not about it, or they're not, because, you know, everyone knows they're about it in the mission, right? We just got lucky that day. It was cold that night, right? And everything worked out. Everything fell perfectly into place. Was it a fact? Did it happen? Did we try to go into a neighborhood and get a burger? Yes, we did. Did we get that? We got the burger, but I mean, we almost, you know, I mean, we almost got hamburgered straight up. Bad. They almost gave us 2 for $3 tomorrow. It was ugly. But, you know, in any case, with me and you, take it for instance, just me and you, we're different now. We're out there, our faces out there. People are feeling some type of way. Let's just state facts, right? That's understandable. But prior to this, like you said, bro, there wasn't a motherfucking neighborhood I couldn't go through. Now, of course, I wasn't going to announce it. Hey, guess what? I'm non-active. Come get me right now. If you asked me, I would tell you. You know, I was never going to deny. But I wasn't out there fucking just throwing it out there. You know what I mean? That's just not how it was. And some people hit me up. Everyone knew my story, Merced. Some homeboys just didn't give a fuck, bro. They were like, shit, you go tell him, see what he does to you. Because they already knew. Just because I was no longer in good standing didn't mean I didn't know how to stand good. You know what I mean? And that's just what it was.
You're right about the differences in between now and the 90s, too. I remember in the 90s, you know, people would get out of prison and they'd be no good, you know, for whatever reason. Nobody tripped on them at all. Be like, man, that's prison shit, man. You're always solid. You've always been solid with us. You know what I mean? We didn't trip like that either until a motherfucker got deep into them politics. But even when I was deep into the politics, man, I've seen some people out there that were supposed to get got. You know what I mean? And it's just like, man, for the greater good, I'm going to just pretend like you didn't see me. I'm going to pretend like I didn't see you, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't be around here no more, though, because next time I might not be. I might have people with me that, you know, you force my hand into having to do something or have something done. You know, but the 90s were way different. Everybody knows everything nowadays with social media and, you know, everybody having phones in the joint and whatever. Word gets around quick, you know. Me and you are faces. We both got over 1 million watch time hours, bro. You know what I mean? So it's like people know who we are, man, and it makes it a little bit different. Are we any worse of being no good now than we were? No. Once you're no good, you're no good. Unless you're like a weirdo or something. You know,
then you know,
you could get yourself you could make yourself a priority target. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But we're still the same dudes we were when we fell off. You know what I mean? We ain't no different. You know what I'm saying? But I go anywhere I want. You know what I mean? I haven't had too many problems. You know what I'm saying? I've noticed some people are like hesitant to be around. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But they ain't gonna do shit because they know they gotta to do it all the way with me. Because I will respond to the best of my ability, and I'll never stop. You know, the police are gonna have to come and get me. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way it is. So they're like, well, do we really mess with this dude? He knows where we all live. You know what I'm saying? The only alternative is to remove him from existence. There's not a lot of people willing to do that. They'd rather just be like, man, fuck it. Let him do his thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because he ain't nobody we really want to fuck with right now. It's not that serious.
Yeah.
Let's get this dude to go mess with these girls. That's what they're thinking. Fuck, man, we don't want to fuck with him.
Yep. And one of the biggest misconceptions is this. Big misconception is, oh, this guy's on YouTube, or this guy's this, or this guy's name's known, so he's the worst of the worst. Like, not, bro. You got a Vato that's your next door neighbor that done fell off, that done touched everybody in the world. You better worry about him.
Yeah. You know? Real talk. Well, shit, that about covers it, man. But I think me and you are in agreement. It all depends on where you're from and why you fell off. Because there's, in every neighborhood right now, there's people with green lights kicking it with people who are supposed to hit them. That's just how it is. A lot of people have relationships 20-something years, you know, family, cousins that are married, and they go to the same barbecues, and they got the same grandmothers and aunties and stuff. They're not tripping because you didn't feel like doing no burpees. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But independent is different. And that's only by force in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
You know?
Go
ahead.
Yeah, there's even some cases where Vatos will see you and they'll be like, they'll see you in R&R and they'll be like, hey, bro, they're tripping on you here. You better do something. You know what I mean? You know, hey, because motherfuckers ain't trying to get caught up, bro. That's the fact of the matter is they're not trying to get caught up. That's reality, you know? Yeah. Ain't no one fuck if they know you from the streets, you're their homeboy, they've been rocking with you for fucking 30 years, you done fell off last week, they're not gonna fucking try to hit you automatically. They hate you. You know what I mean? Yeah. It takes time for them to be not brainwashed, for them to be fucking indoctrinated with that hate, for them to literally hate you. You know, you you might have saved their life. So they're gonna give you that pass, like, hey bro, you already know what the fuck you doing here, eh? Yeah. Okay. Here's a piece. Get off, right?
Hey, one thing in closing though. This does not apply to Salinas. So if you're no good, there's Salinas right here. Go that way.
Go around.
Go around.
Yeah. Go around Salinas.
They'll get
you. That doesn't count. Over there, all non-actors will be treated the same.
Yeah.
Personally.
So if you're a Northern Dropout, stay away from there. Anyway, man, this is your boy Rojo. This is the Rojo Room. Thank you, Gunner, for jumping on, man. I knew you would add some light to this topic because it was a good one. We appreciate you guys. We'll both be live. Gunner's going soon. I'm going right after. Y'all have a good one, man. Enjoy your Monday, y'all.